I would like you to imagine yourself as a captain of a starship. A starship on a long-term exploration mission into deep space. This mission will span many generations, and thus the crew on board are families. The spaceship that you govern has been launched with all the basics needed to safely navigate through deep space, but it's also been equipped with the tools and people with the skill sets needed to upgrade as you progress. You, as the captain, have been given a manual as to how you can best and most efficiently improve things as you progress. It's a time-tested system designed by experts so that each upgrade you make to your ship is safe and builds on the last one in a sensible and systematic manner. It's very important, of course, that as you make changes, that you do so in a skillful way, because there are many people sustained by the ship, and it could be disastrous if you adjust things in a thoughtless manner. You're changing an ongoing process, so you need to be careful. No one wants to see the boosters upgraded before the guidance system, the sensors, the steering and the fuel tanks, and most of all, the air supply. Let's not build an extension for more people before we build new farming units and recycling systems to support them. And also, please be sure to fit the new deflection shields and reinforce the hull before testing the warp drive. The plan that you've been given is time-tested and proven to work. Something that you will hand to the person who takes over your job after you. A good captain would therefore be very careful not to deviate from this schedule. If there was an emergency or something genuine to adapt to, then this may be an exception. Let's bring the new armour development forwards, Captain. We will be meeting a large meteor field early next month. But once the deviation or emergency response had passed, a good leader would be sure to readjust and get things back on track. But let's look at the possible reasons that could cause a captain to get confused and move away from the plan. Number one could be recklessness. The captain has no idea of how things are interconnected or the true consequence of his or her actions, and does things on whim and without thought. Morale problems. This could come in two forms. Either the captain lacks morale or the crew do. This means that it's hard to keep to any upgrade program that's sensible and involves persistence. For this reason, the improvements to the ship are being made in the order that's most flashy and exciting to maintain motivation, rather than in a safe and well-planned order. This provides a temporary fix to the morale problem but leads to long-term issues. The morale problem needs to be fixed in and of itself. It could be lack of emotional control. The captain lacks self-control and thus gets moved too much by how they feel at the time. And this means they often plan things which are based on a whim and switch plans and abandon other ongoing work when it gets too hard or when the captain starts to fear they may fail. The internal drivers of the captain are steering the ship, not the external needs of the mission. It could be pride or ambition. The captain wants to be better than others, and this clouds his or her judgments, which leads to unnecessary risk-taking. We're going to make it through this gravity field without the needed upgrades because we're going to get there before anyone else. Or perhaps confused goals. We're going to be the fastest starship ever throughout the whole of the universe. Rebellion could also change the plan. The captain doesn't want to follow orders and is not going to stick to some schedule laid down by someone else. What does anyone know anyway that he doesn't who's out in the field? But by steering away from the time-tested methods, he may feel more free, more dynamic and more impressive, not knowing that he's actually rebelling against the laws of nature rather than any person or authority. A fight that can't be won. Another cause could be that the captain has a very imbalanced skill set, either within himself or in his crew. Have you ever heard the saying, if all you have is a hammer, all you see is nails? Sometimes people get stuck in one way of doing things so much they just can't change gear. Often this tactical lock is so strong that when they try their normal method and it doesn't work, they just keep amplifying that and trying harder, repeating what they're already doing and hoping it will suddenly work. I know you say we need weapons and armour, but let's go even faster and then we don't need any of those. It could be that the starship captain is also influenced by a false identification of a threat. He thinks it's an emergency and it's not. This could be due to paranoia or poor information he's receiving. The captain is continually responding to an emergency that does not exist. You could imagine him building weapons against aliens that never really manifest. All these factors, and many more, could lead the captain to go off course. And like the changes to the ship, the imbalances within its leader are also interconnected. But they have a similar theme. If the captain goes off course, then the ship gets led off course too. So as you can see, much about being a captain is about making sure you remain balanced inside, so that your decisions remain on target. It's also important to remember that our shortcomings have funny ways of justifying themselves, often sounding very grand, elegant, beautiful, but can be revealed by the poor outcomes when they gain control. But what's the point in this story? It's often easy to see from outside how one bad decision can lead to another. And to compensate, we continue to make changes that aren't originally planned. You can imagine in the case of the spaceship, that the whole crew could end up lost and ill-equipped for their surroundings in the middle of deep space. But when it comes to our own life, this isn't so clear. You see, in your life, you are the captain. Your body and your mind are your ship and crew. The The changes you make to yourself are changes to an ongoing system which is interconnected. There are many traditions of self-improvement handed down to aid you in your journey. Time and tested methods which unfold in a systematic and safe order. Make sure you are a wise captain and follow this precious guidance with great care and attention. Learn to fly your ship at moderate speeds before you upgrade your boosters. Fit long-range scanning systems before you set out for a distant planet.